All right, guys, sad, terrible news out of Los Angeles, California this week as a nurse has killed 6 individuals in a very terrible fiery crash that happened in Los Angeles. The nurse in question, Nicole Litton, was driving her Mercedes roughly 90 to 100 miles an hour through a busy intersection in California and crashed, killing 6 individuals. A child under the age of 1, a child that was unborn at this time. Both of their parents and 2 other females were killed in this big, huge fiery crash. However, the nurse herself ended up living. Nicole Litton ended up living through the crash, which is a feat all in itself, because if you've seen the footage, it is horrific. This is a terrible, terrible incident that has happened. The nurse in question also had something like 13 prior accidents, 1 involving bodily harm, 2 involving totaled vehicles. And it's a wonder how this nurse was able to keep her driver's license in order to keep on still driving, and how this was able to continue to happen. Something I don't know, and I'll never understand how this nurse was able to continue to drive. Something that is said often whenever these news articles are reported is it's always reported that this woman was a nurse. Every single time that a news article is brought up, it is reported somehow that she was a nurse. Not necessarily about how bad the accident was or how tragic the accident was or anything about really much else other than that Nicole Litton was a travel nurse. It seems that all of the articles focus on her being a travel nurse and then the accident. I don't understand why her being a travel nurse should supersede the accident or what has happened or the tragedy that these families are now having to endure, especially the family that lost grandchildren and their own children. I mean, that there is its own tragedy in itself, and yet the news media seems to be focused on the fact that it was done by a nurse. I don't understand. I think we need to sort of change our focus around and more focus on the tragedy that happened and be in, thoughts and prayers for the families involved, not necessarily focus on the fact that a nurse did it. I understand that this was a very serious situation, but at the same time I'm thinking maybe we should focus on the others involved and not just the fact that a nurse did it. Could be me. Terrible tragedy, and I hate to see things like this happen. If convicted, Miss Litton faces up to 90 years in prison. 90 years for her incidents, and I do believe that there were no substances found, or at least at this time there were no substances found on Miss Litton or in the vehicle. Terrible, terrible tragedy, and I hate to see it. Something that just a terrible tragedy, and I wish that she wasn't driving. I wish that she didn't have the ability to drive, as bad as that sounds. Driving is a privilege and should be taken seriously, as it does have serious consequences if done incorrectly. Sad day, and I really hate to see it. Anyways, if you like Nurses Making the News on Thursday, should be a playlist down below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I believe it's on that side, and YouTube says you'll like that video over there. Hope it helps. Thank you much.